Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this morning with Eitan, and we are focusing this week's episode on the hidden blessings within cause and effect. One of the lesser famous of Kabbalistic principles is the opponent and the way that that inner critic, that inner challenger tries to get us to focus on the wrong thing or be distracted from the true work. And one of the greatest illusions that force creates is that things are random and chaotic and not connected to one another. And this week really allows us to hone in on the interconnectedness of everything in our life and the divine order behind everything, that even though it can seem random or unfair or wrong place, wrong time, there is that distinct and divine harmony behind everything. And by focusing our energy on identifying and looking for those connections, we can bring greater synchronicity, greater experience of the light of the Creator in our life on a daily basis. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most practical and powerful tools to navigate the coming 7 days through the wisdom and tools of Kabbalah. Therefore, every episode ends up offering up timeless wisdom and tools that you can use any week of your year, any year of your life. And because this week has that gift for us, what we might also notice this week is glimpses, intuitions, visions, realizations, aha moments about different areas in our life where we may be struggling, feel stuck in a loop, we may even feel like our wheels are spinning, but we're not going anywhere. And there is a deep and purposeful reason behind it, and we're going to get to that today. So, Eitan, where do you think we should begin?
I think we should start with first the broader picture of understanding the idea of cause and effect. We know in physics, it's one of the rules in physics, every action has a reaction. So I think it's clear when you push an object and you see the object is moving. Or when you turn on the light, you see immediate effect, action reaction. In self-damaging, you stick your finger in the socket, you get immediate electrical shock. So I think it's pretty clear there's many things in the physical world that we see immediate cause and effect. A person knows that he's allergic to peanuts. And cause and effect, 2 minutes after they eat the peanuts, it's hard to breathe and other issues. So I think whenever there's a clarity of immediate action, reaction, cause and effect, everybody's aligned. It's stupid to do these things. But here comes the test. There's a little delay. Working out versus not working out. Will you see the results? Yes, but it's a little delay reaction. You feel better after discipline of working out. Eating, do you see the immediate? Enjoying some food that is unhealthy for me? Do I see the immediate? Maybe yes, maybe not. But the joy that I'm getting from the food is actually covering up the effect. Using substance abuse. I feel high, I feel elevated right away. So you would say that's the cause and effect later. When I feel the crash, do I see the cause and effect? Yes, but there's another factors that makes me feel good in the middle. And actually, the real tests in life, and that's one of the main strategies of the opponent within, is to delay the connection between cause and effect. And that's where the real tests in life. That's where the real test in life. Because ultimately, every time you align with your true self, which is the part within us that doing an actions or say words and injecting tension that you know will bring lasting fulfillment for you or for others, regardless what people say, That's the cause. The effect is positive energy into your life. But because there's not immediate reaction, we all fall short. And each one of us, in our own struggle and desire to become better, that's where our real test. When I don't see immediate cause and effect, I maybe understand, but I don't feel immediate cause and effect. So, for example, why should I give energy, love, support, heart, care, praying for someone if I get no thank you and no recognition? And especially when I don't see immediate cause and effect. I don't see life is better suddenly. That's the trap of the opponent within. Then cause and effect becomes just a philosophy. Yeah, I know you're connected, you're drawing energy, but that's the definition of spiritual strength. Spiritual strength is doing the opposite of what the opponent wants us to do. Is bring the final effect of your positive action or the final effect of the negative action as if it's happening right now. As if it's happening right now. And that's the work for all of us. For example, the Zohar speaks in this weekly portion about the laws of reincarnation. That whenever you are struggling in certain area in your life, is because there's a lesson that you didn't learn from past lifetime. And as long as you're not going to learn that lesson, you're going to keep attract certain patterns that will not look even fair, making sense based on the normal cause and effect of what you see. It's not because we are punished, it's because our soul crave to become better. So, so that's the general statement. If I'm, if what is to be reactive, I want immediate effect, immediate feeling good for my action. So when I'm reactive, I feel sense of righteousness. Or when I'm defensive, when someone accusing me to someone, or when I'm arguing, I'm trying to win, that's my effect. Cause is my argument, effect is my winning, I'm getting some energy. But what is the real cause and effect? I'm reactive. That energy attract what we call in Kabbalah klipot or shells around my soul that manifest sooner or later some energy of chaos in my life, not because it's a punishment, because it's the longer path to cleanse and to wake up in a long term, but we don't see that. So actually, true awareness is realizing that everything that we do has reaction. The fact that it doesn't happen now, the fact that it's happening in a month, in 2 months, it's irrelevant. That's what makes it a big test. Positive reaction or negative reaction.
It's interesting. I had a question from a student, and she asked, "How do I know when a difficult situation with someone is because they have trauma and they have issues and they have problems versus when it's my opportunity to grow and to cleanse?" And I feel like what you said about the whole idea that when things are painful or difficult, we look at them as punishment. We don't, in the moment, necessarily recognize the blessing, the benefit that going through the challenge or the struggle can bring. So I said to her, is it possible that there is both in that situation? That yes, this person that you're dealing with has issues and is taking them out on you, but why did the creator arrange, right? The producer of your movie arranged for you to face that person, to come into it. In this case, it was a doctor and a patient who was struggling not with the medical issue, but emotionally. And it was very difficult for the doctor in this case to look at it as it's a blessing. It's from the light of the creator. This is helping me to grow and learn and expand. And so I think that even looking at scenarios in our own lives that feel they don't belong. This is not my problem, or I didn't create this. Sometimes, you get into a situation. It happened a couple weeks ago that I walked out of my house and two cars were one one guy in one car was screaming at the car in front of her. She's doing nothing, right? There's another car in front of her. She can't move. So what's he screaming about? Even in that moment that it seems chaotic and unfair, she didn't do anything. There is this hidden orchestration happening that maybe that woman sitting in the car in front of him that's being yelled at is given the opportunity to not take something personally or to connect to that spark inside her rather than to be influenced from the outside. There's so many possibilities. I think the whole idea of, feeling I'm being punished or many times people ask, how do I know why this is happening to me? Or how am I going to know when I'm done with this challenge or this issue or this tikkun? The the Kabbalists teach that there are infinite reasons why a particular scene would come into our lives, a particular person would come into our lives, and it is human nature to seek, the answer. But there's so many moving pieces that we need to also understand there isn't only one answer. There's a million answers. And even when the situation or the person, the relationship is behind us, we can still be deriving growth, awareness, transformation from something that even happened in the past. So I feel like this is a good week to focus especially on our perception that we're being punished or that it's not fair. Why does it seem this person has it's so easy for them to make money or I'm single and all my friends are getting married? Like to look at that my journey against other people's journeys and understand that that process is they have nothing to do with one another. That's often it's a hard reality to face because it's not how our minds think. But, your process and your friend's process or your sister's process has nothing to do with your own process. Your paths may meet, frequently, but their progress doesn't hinder yours and vice versa. And so I think if we can focus a little bit more on that idea of you know, perception of punishment versus perception of correction, perception of elevation, of healing, that can bring a lot more ease and feeling of being supported by the universe rather than the universe is working against me.
Beautiful. So I would love to share a few example of planting seeds of light that will bear light and blessings, even though the cause and effect doesn't happen right away. So let's focus a little bit in the positive. How do we plant seeds of light when you don't see the fruits that we all seeking to see right away? So I'll use the example that you used. Every time I'm going through any types of moment of difficulties, while there's many reasons, but the main reason I'm going through that is because this lifetime or past lifetime, in this particular area around my soul that this situation is trigger, there's a blockage. That blockage, I have responsibility to correct. Regardless the unfairness, regardless the reason it happened in the physical world, if something hurting me, there's a blockage, my responsibility to cleanse. Doesn't mean I'm bad. We all have blockages. So the mere fact that as you feel it, you say, wow, thank you, Creator, for the opportunity to cleanse. Now, you have option reactive Why me? Or you choose an attitude. If I'm going through that, the mere fact that I'm reacting with in a way of embracing it and thanking opportunity to cleanse, because every time my old issues are triggered, every time I'm actually embracing it as a cleansing, that's what's happening. So every time you're triggered and you're reacting by welcoming it instead of complaining about it, you are actually cleansing. This is the week of cleansing. So just pause. Thank you, the Creator, for cleansing something in me. But it was all about them. Let's focus on our cause and effect. That attitude actually allow process of cleansing. Cleansing means clearing negative layers around your soul that as a result bear blessings in your life. Simple. Thank you, the Creator, for the opportunity to cleanse. Thank you. Really mean it. If not, it wouldn't bother me. It can be feeling a cold. It can be annoyed by whatever. In a deep level, it's a cleansing opportunity. But you consistently doing it, you planting the cause, that effect will come, not right away. Number one. Number two, let's speak about personal disciplines that are necessary for each one of us to apply in order to see long term changes. I loved when Monica Bird shared Kabbalah is not about inspiration, it's about transformation. Because very often we think that in order to move to the next level, I need to be inspired, then yes, naturally motivated. There are moments of motivation, of inspiration, which are essentials to boost our consciousness, to see clearly what's the next level. But real changes require persistence in daily spiritual and physical discipline without seeing immediate results. Cause and effect. Unless you speak about those discipline, more powerful the seeds that you are planting. When you speak too much and people knows about your discipline too much, you get the illusionary effect, which is appreciation from other people or some ego. You want really to be between you and the light. So, for example, one disciple. What are your first thoughts in the morning? What are your first thoughts in the morning? You might say, what's the big deal? Imagine you commit for the next 60 days and then for the rest of your life, after you'll see it works for you, okay? That the first thoughts on the morning will be thoughts appreciation for the creator and looking forward for the amazing day of growth and transformation. Appreciation and looking forward for the growth. We're looking forward for the growth naturally when we feel boosted, when we energize, when we have specific meetings that I'm excited about, sometimes not. But imagine discipline. I'm committed to those thoughts and words and maybe journaling for me. Appreciation and looking forward for the opportunity to grow and elevate today, no matter what. Good meeting, bad meeting. Let's commit to that discipline. Does it make a difference? It makes the whole difference. You'll be amazed because that's period between sleep and awake. In the first chapter It's the seed of the day. So that's an I'm giving an example. There's many disciplines. I just met with someone today and asked them, what is the little discipline that you know will make a difference? Let's start. So he told me, okay, I need to take care of my body. What does it mean? 3 times a week, exercise, eating well. What does it mean for you eating well? Deciding that. And journaling daily the feelings, because it's tough for that person to regulate the feeling, and they know whenever they journal about what they felt today, it helps them to regulate. So that's their specific, each one of us according, there's many that we can have share a discipline, but there's only on specific. But okay, take that no matter what. That's when true changes happen. Cause and effect that you don't see immediately the effect. That's the definition of spiritual action. Physical action, you see immediate effect. Spiritual action, which might be also with physical application, is when you do not see the immediate effect.
Why is it that smaller, I don't know if it's even actions, because sometimes it's internal and there isn't an action involved, but why does the small effort have so much more impact than the big, I do something once and it was hard for me and then I'm done with it? What is it that's so powerful about those small and consistent efforts?
It's a very good question, and the answer is simple. How does a person develop anxiety? How does the person develop panic attacks? How does a person develop anger issue? It's a many repetitive, reactive thoughts, fearful thoughts, anxious thoughts. Another one small. Can't stand it. I'm afraid of this little conversation that you give into, that becomes major issue, that become anxiety issue. The same thing is positivity. How do you develop habit of new consciousness, new way to see of life, new way to act differently? You create a pathway for the light to go through you and to manifest itself in such a beautiful way. How do you create that? How do you create that? By repetitive, small, new thoughts, new discipline, new actions, new words. In the same way, negativity don't just manifest itself suddenly. Positivity don't really manifest itself suddenly. That's part of the test of life. That there's a little delay between the major manifestation. But that's the beauty. That delays give me a chance to trust. Actually, King David says, pay attention to the little action that nobody sees you doing or not. Be disciplined about them.
It's interesting because even in the field of parenting, one of the key practices to helping your kids develop new habits is recognizing the small, invisible effort that they're making, pulling them aside and telling me, "I know it was hard for you to give your toy to your brother. I don't think I didn't notice it." Noticing, calling attention to the small and, again, almost invisible progress, that's what builds up to big changes. So, it's almost like we're doing that to our own inner child and really helping a greater version of ourself emerge, not also and just this to me is something that gets in the way. There's also that voice that says, "It's so small, what's the big deal? How much impact can it have?" To remember that those tiny yet consistent efforts are really what lead to not only dramatic change, but I think the key is lasting change, that we don't
Lasting
want to be
change and
one.
miraculous change. Absolutely. I love what you say. It's part of the discipline. I would say you want to give yourself assurance as the observer, as your soul. You are making a huge difference. That's what they, because at the beginning, as a child, we need the assurance from our parents. And as you growing, you need the assurance from your soul, from the creator. That's the journey of true independence. Independence, but shifting the dependence from people to the creator. That's the process of true growth. So that process of assurance is also important. You've just created a huge change. Wow, you made this such a quantum ripple effect to your little thought. I remember one of the teacher shared with all of us that he took upon himself, and he did it for 30 years and more, that every time he knows someone in pain, if they know about it or no, he's adding him to the list of praying. And 3 times a day he would pray for them. Discipline. Imagine for 30 years. And the miracle that he saw, and he wouldn't say anything. The miracles that he saw, he just prayed for them unconditionally, nothing to do with anybody. It's amazing. Amazing. So there's so many levels of taking cause. And if you give yourself the assurance of the creator of your soul, you are creating an effect, not necessarily in your term.
Beautiful. I'm excited to see how this week brings us all to a new level of discipline, a new level of awe and awareness about the perfection and the universe. And I'm sure next week will give us additional opportunities to put this into practice too. I find that when you commit to a week, that's doable. But like you said, Eitan, to commit to 60 days, 40 days, something that it's going to require discipline and perseverance, that those small actions create the greatest breakthroughs. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us there to receive additional support to live what we speak about in every episode. You can also go to weeklyenergyboost.com to learn more about the things that we're excited about, to search our archives, to send us a message, and to click the donate button to support the production of Weekly Energy Boost. But as always, please share this episode. Your sharing creates more light, more revelation, more connection, and it's really making a difference in the world. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.